Hey, it happens to everyone. He's made us all cry at one point or another.
You should come over after school.
What is all this?
This is a ceremony to celebrate you.
Why would you celebrate me?
Because you're out fourth.
Just in time for first period.
As I said, love what you did with this movie, and I don't want to spoil it because I could go into really detail of the great things that you did. But as a fan and somebody who was affected by the original craft, how was it sort of pushing yourself to preserve what you loved and then push it in a new direction, which is what we get?
Thank you. Yeah, I am such a fan of the original. It was an incredibly meaningful film for me when I was a young woman, and so it was a great responsibility to reimagine it. And I think I wanted to be really careful that I both honored the original, but also created a film that could stand on its own. And so there are, little Easter eggs throughout the film that I think original craft fans will see and hopefully appreciate. But outside of the sort of general premise of a young woman moving to a new town and finding a coven of witches that she starts to understand her powers with, the movie really then takes a departure from the original other than that.
So why was it important? Let me see, because I do want to talk about this. I kind of love that the fact that the three that already knew each other befriend her before they know she's the fourth, and that sort of speaks to this dynamic, which is very different from the dynamic of the first one. Was that sort of the key to finding your way into how this one was going to be different?
Yeah, I think I really wanted to celebrate friendship among women and the power of that friendship, and that these young women, when they do start embodying their power, they don't ultimately use it against each other, that they use that power to uplift and uphold each other. So that definitely was intentional. Yeah.
Cool. So I talked to your actresses earlier in the week, and how was it sort of the experience as being the director of a movie where you get to pick your own sort of coven and bring female energy with the head of the departments behind the scenes? Talk about a little about that.
Well, on my directorial debut, which is called Band-Aid, I hired a crew that was made up entirely of women. And so I brought a number of those women with me on the craft legacy: my cinematographer, my production designer, my producing partner, and my editor. And then there were a number of new members to our coven that we brought on this project. Our incredible costume designer, our head of makeup, my composer, Heather Christian. Yeah, it's very important to me to give women opportunities in an industry where there are still so many barriers to entry, even, despite the fact that there's a lot of conversation around equity and inclusion. I think it's pretty slow moving when it comes to putting those practices into action. So I do try my best, but I also have a long way to go.
No, but I feel your actors all said how it fed the energy of the movie. So I really appreciated too what you did in terms of, like certain movies, genre movies, the archetypes stay the same, but they talk differently. But in this one, I felt so much, particularly with the male characters, they also benefited from breaking out. So talk about, I mean, if you could talk about that, because that was one of the scenes that I appreciated the most, how you sort of also give the benefit of taking those characters out of their archetypes as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to look at the ways in which the systems that oppress women also actually are causing a deep amount of harm to men, and that in many ways that is hard for men to recognize. And it's true of anyone who benefits, right, from an oppressive system. It's hard to sometimes see how that oppressive system is actually also oppressing you. And so I think in terms of making change and adding voices to the movement that aren't just allies from the outside, but actually allies from within, sometimes that sort of recognition is really necessary. So I wanted to explore that with some of our male characters and also offer some like aspirational models of divine masculinity, because we are looking at toxic masculinity, but we're also looking at the divine masculine.
Yeah, I really, really appreciated that. So my time is up. Thank you so much. Like I said, I love the movie.
Thank
you guys
you.
have a good day, okay?
Thanks.
I was starting to get a little worried.
Sorry, I was just hanging out with my friends. We've gone too far.
Was this just like some game to you?
I feel different.
Be careful. A lot of weirdos out here.
We are the weirdos, mister.